33024720 See, the most appropriate data type for the ISBN. So we have different types of data type you can use for data. So which one is more appropriate for this? And you see, it is not numeric because you could see a letter here. It is not Boolean because it's not having an option of 2, either this or that. It is not date. You can see clearly this is not date value. So the correct answer is text. So I pick text in this question. Text, very quickly. Text. Okay, then the next one, question 2. Identify the hardware from the descriptions given. So we read the description clearly. A volatile internal memory that stores the current instruction. You see, the command word is identified. Then hardware. Okay, a volatile internal memory that stores the current instruction is, so that is random access memory or just RAM. So anyone that you want to use. Okay, let me type in color red. Okay, you can type it in full. Random access memory or just RAM. Okay, then the next one is a printed circuit board containing the CPU and other components of a computer. A printed circuit board, that is motherboard. So then the next one, a printed circuit board that controls the output to a monitor, that is graphics card. That controls the output to a monitor, graphics card or video card. Graphics card or video card, take note. Then the next one is a printed circuit board that is installed in a computer, so the computer can be connected to a network. That is simply network card or just network interface card. Network interface card or just NIC. Then question number 3. A head teacher is setting up a newsletter to send to parents of pupils at a school. She has some photographs saved on storage devices that she needs to place in the newsletter. State, that's a command word. Take note of that. State, that's a command word. State to communication method which the head teacher could use to upload the photographs onto the school network. So you need to understand the question carefully. So one method that she can use is connecting a storage device or the storage device to the computer via USB cable. Okay, then you could also use connect via cloud. Connect by or via or just by, use by Wi-Fi to the cloud or the device Wi-Fi. She could also connect by using Bluetooth. Okay, any 2 points here will earn you the full mark. Take note of that. And since the lines to write on is numbered, so the marking will be done based on the numbering. So the first point you put here, the next point you put here will be of priority. Take note of that. Then the next question is question 4a. Describe the purpose of a browser. Like I normally say in my video, describe is the command word, and what are you describing? Purpose of a web browser. So you need to understand before you begin to write. Basically, what's a web browser? Web browser is an application software for displaying the content of a website or web page. So it is the function of the web browser to ensure that the content of web pages are being displayed. Okay, so it has to outline the functions. You can say a web browser retrieve from the server okay, the information, then it does not only retrieve, it interprets it such that we can understand the code as a web page, and also it allows it allows the user to navigate to other information. Or other pages. Okay, good. Take note of that. This is interpret. Okay, good. Then any 2 points here will earn you the full mark. Then the next question is simple. A company may use an intranet or an extranet. The keywords there are intranet, take note of that, and extranet. So the command word here says describe. What are you describing? The differences between an intranet and extranet, and this is just for 2 marks. So to get the full mark is very simple. Just state the differences, describe the differences. You can say intranet shares data within a private organization, while extranet shares content with what? Third party, or just say supplier or customers. Take note of that. Another thing you can say is that extranet is part of a company's intranet, and you can also say that extranet can lead to more security breaches. Okay, you can also say that intranet, on the other hand, allows communication within the organization. So you can say that intranet allows communication within the organization. Okay, then you see any 2 points here will earn you the full mark. Okay, then the next question, question 5, state the safety issue that is more likely to occur for each of these courses. States, that's the command word, like I've always said. States is the command word, then safety issue that is more likely to occur for each of these. So spilling drinks on computer equipment. So what type of issue is this? Safety issue is this. Okay, then that is, if that happens, that might lead to electrocution. Then overloading socket by plugging in too many devices, that can lead to fire outbreak. Then trailing cables across the floor, it could lead to tripping over wires. Then placing a laser printer at the edge of a table, definitely that is heavy equipment which could fall to injure people. So take note of that. That is heavy equipment falling and injuring people. Okay, it will not just fall, it could fall, yes, it may get damaged and it could cause injury. Why is it important to use the word injury? Because if you just leave it on damaging is not safety. So safety has to do with the people using the computer, so you have to include that when it falls it could injure people around. So that is why that is very important for you to earn the mark there. Then the next question is question 6. A student has set up a password for his laptop computer. The password he has chosen is as shown here: PX, combination of letters, numbers, special character, lower and upper cases. So that's what he has chosen. And then if you look at the number of characters, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, about 12 characters. Then the question, the keyword here is discuss the benefits and drawbacks of using this type of password. The benefits, and then how would you be able to know how to answer? This is a 6 marks question. So looking at this password that you are choosing, the first thing you need to consider is what type of a password is this. We have talked about different types of password, and we said we have weak and strong password. Weak and strong password. So then if you look at this, is it a strong password? Strong password, or is it weak? Yes, it's a strong password. How did I know? Because it is more than 8 characters long. It contains numbers and letters, and it contains uppercase and lowercase characters. So it shows that it's a strong password. So if the question says discuss the benefits and drawbacks of using this password, the question is simply asking for the benefits and drawbacks of using a strong password. So you need to understand the question for you to be able to write what will earn you the full mark. So I start, discuss is the command word. So you can say that the benefits, if you start with the benefit, you can say it is a strong password. You know, as simple as this looks, it's a valid point because they didn't tell us in the question whether it is a strong password or not. So it is your responsibility to decode that and know that this is a strong password. So this could fetch you a mark. Then you can say by therefore, as it's a strong password, therefore it is hard to crack. So that's the benefit. It is hard to crack. Another thing that you can say about it is that it is more secure. It is more secure. As a strong password, it is more secure. Then another thing, you can say that the password is long enough. It's long enough. Therefore, it's not easy for shoulder surfing. Okay, take note of that. And another good thing about this password that is a benefit is that it is not easy to guess. Why? Because it does not contain personal information. A strong password shouldn't contain personal information because somebody could easily guess that and guess right. So it does not contain personal information, so it is hard to crack or guess, okay, by somebody that wants to, you know, steal your information. So that's a good benefit. Then when we want to talk about the drawbacks is talking about limitation of using a strong password. So you could write that and say it is easy to forget as it has many different characters. So, and you know, for password you have to remember it correctly for you to be able to gain entry into your computer. Okay, that's very important. Then you can still say that it is long or complex. So the owner could mistype it. That is possible. So you could say as it is long and complex, it could be easily mistyped. It could be easily mistyped. That's very important. Then because it is a strong password and long, the user would have to look at the keyboard when entering the password, so thereby taking some time. So take note of that. Because it's a long and strong password. So all of these will earn you the mark allotted to this question. You see, 6. So what you have even written is more than 6 points already. So take note of that. Then let's go to the next question for us to understand what to do next. The student could have protected his laptop computer by using two-factor authentication. This could have combined his password with a biometric method. Take note when you see this kind of a question. It could have combined the password with a biometric method. So the keyword here is two-factor authentication. So what is a two-factor authentication? This is a method whereby two methods are being combined together to gain so it's very important. So that is what we call two-factor or multi-factor authentication. So for example, I could you may want to know what multi-factor or two-factor authentication is. So let me show you that. Authentication refers to the ability of a user to prove who they are. So we have something like something like a password, something you have, having a confirmation on your mobile phone, or something which is unique to you, for example, biometrics. So for two-factor authentication, it is a form of verification which requires two methods of authentication to verify who a user is. So that is exactly what we mean by two-factor authentication, like adding an extra layer of security to your data. That is what two-factor authentication is all about. So going back to the question says that the student could have protected his laptop by using two-factor authentication. This could have combined its password with a biometric method. State 2 examples of biometric methods it could use. So it could use, for example, biometric means something that is unique to you. So it could use retina scan. It could as well use voice recognition. These are valid points, 2 points there. You could also make use of maybe fingerprint or thumbprint, as the case may be. Okay, or maybe facial recognition. So any 2 here will earn you the full mark. Very simple question there. Question 7. A systems analyst has been asked to carry out an analysis of a company's current computer system. State 3 methods of analyzing the current system. So when you analyze the current system, can you mention any 3 methods? So the command word here is state. So methods of analyzing the current system. So in system life cycle, we can use 4 different methods. So let's see, let's mention them. You could actually use observation method. We could also use interviews. We could use questionnaires. We could as well use looking or examining the existing document. Okay, so any 3 here will earn you the full mark. Very simple question there. So then the next one is question 7b. The system analyst is working with a team to create some new software. The software documentation will be stored on the cloud. Take note, the command word here is describe, how the team can use the cloud to share the documentation. One major advantage of using the cloud to store is that there can be collaboration on the files or document being, uploaded to the cloud. That's one advantage of using the cloud to store. So the question here is now saying, describe how the team can use the cloud to share the documentation. So how would they do that? The first thing is that before they will be able to even share it, the document needs to be uploaded first to the cloud. So you can say documentation is uploaded to the cloud. That's very important. And then access will be given to member of the team. Members of the team. Now this is like 2 points already, and the question is a 4-mark question. So with this you have gotten 2 marks already, and then each of the members, even though they have given them access, each of them would have to log in with their own detail. That's for authentication. So I want given details into the cloud storage, and then documentation can be done. So would open the documentation. They can as well modify or update the documentation. Then the documentation will be synchronized. Then they can track the owner of the owner or the collaborators of the documentation, and so on and so forth. So that is very simple. Okay, so with this you have earned the full mark to the question. So question 7C says members of the team can use video conferencing to join. The keyword here is video conferencing, to join business meetings from different locations around the world. You can see that the command word is describe, then you give your reasons. The 3 disadvantages of using video conferencing for business meetings rather than meeting in person. So when you are giving this, you have to consider both sides of the argument. Okay, so you are describing, then you give reasons for your description. This is very important when answering this type of question. And another thing you need to consider before attempting to answer the question is the mark allotted to it. This is a 6-mark question, so you need to take note of that to help you organize your point before you start writing. So you have seen that 6-mark question, and you are talking about 3 disadvantages, then you are given reasons. So mention the 3 disadvantages is 3 marks, given reasons are under 3 marks, then in total you have the 6 marks there. So you can say that when they want to do that, it will be very difficult to carry out projects because individuals are working on their own. They only meet using video conferencing, not that they are meeting physically. So some part of the project might be a bit difficult to carry out. So you can start by saying difficulty in carrying out project, as that's the reason. As I've given described the disadvantage, but now the reason for the disadvantage is that as the individuals involved are working on their own. So that's an issue there. That's an issue there. So another one that is very important is time zone difference. That one is very, very important. Time zone difference could pose a challenge. Why? As staff work in other parts of the world. So that is very important. So meeting may be difficult. Time of meeting may be difficult because while some people are during the day, some other people are in the night season. So there could be some issue with them. Then another thing that can result is disconnection issues or speed of the internet. They could experience that. Disconnection issues and slow speed of internet. So they could have that. Why? Thereby, the reason is that members which could make members of the team miss meetings. So that is also possible. Then background noise or echo could be distracting. That's another disadvantage of video conferencing. Background. So take note of that, background noise. So the background noise or echo could be distracting. So thereby making the meeting sessions not smooth. Okay, so and so many other reasons that can be talked about. So with this you earn the 6 marks in this question. So the next question, let's see that is question 8. Compare optical mark readers. That's the command word here. Compare optical mark readers with optical character readers. Your answer must include similarities and differences. So the next thing I would advise you to do is to look at the marks allotted to it, which is 6 marks. Okay, so with this kind of question you need to be smart answering it. So you can start with the similarities. You can say both OMR and OCR read data using optical method. You can see that optical method, both of them use optical method, optical. So that is 1 mark. You can say both use direct data entry. As data will not be entered manually by hand, so both use direct data entry, and also both are input devices, automatic input devices. Both read data very quickly. Take note of that. So then when it comes to differences, you can talk about, for differences, you can say that, then this is very important. Many candidates don't know how to answer when it comes to the differences. You can say for the OMR, it does not need to read the character. Written, only the marks. Whereas OMR, okay, take note of that. Then you can also say that OMR is unable to recognize machine or hand printed characters. That is another one. OMR is unable to recognize machine or and printed characters. You can say that. Another thing you can say is that for OMR to read, marks need to be within a specified area. That's very important. So that is very important. Now for OCR, say that OCR is more accurate. Notice the word more, because you are comparing it. It's more accurate at reading detailed data. Okay. Another time is that OCR sometimes requires manual intervention to change the scan word. So now with this, now you would have gotten about more than 6 points, and that's how to end the full mark. Then the next part of the question, which is question 8b, identify two uses. The command word here is identify 2 uses of OMR. So areas where OMR is being used. So we can use OMR in multiple choice question or questionnaires, multiple choice forms or questionnaires. We can also use it in attendance register. We can use it for lottery tickets. We can also use it for barcodes. Okay. Then the next one is question 9. Question 9. Absolute and relative file path are used in the content layer when creating a web page. Explain the command word. Explain the differences between an absolute file path and a relative file path. And the mark allotted to it is 2. Explain the difference. So don't forget, they are used in the content layer when creating a web page. So whenever you want to answer, you answer, relating it to the scenario given to you up here. So then you can start by saying that absolute file path contain a complete URL. That is very correct. An absolute file path contain a complete URL. That is full file path with the file name. You know that the file path with the file name, for example, you could have something like for example, you could have maybe C file paths, maybe document, and you have exam.docx, so something like that. So then when you talk about relative, for relative file path, only include a specific file or page. That is relative. Relative file path only include a specific file or page. Okay, a specific file or page. So this is relative to the current path or start from the same folder as the web page. So that is very important when you are talking about that. But then, since this is talking about web page, you have that, it's going to have all of this. Then the next one is, that is question 9a. Explain why absolute file paths should not be used for hyperlinks to locally saved web pages. You can see that explain is a command word, while absolute file path should not be used for hyperlinks to locally saved web pages. It's very simple. because if you should do that, the hyperlinks will not work. The hyperlinks will not work. When you click on it, the hyperlink will not work. Why? Because if the web pages have moved, then the references refer to an old or a deleted file, to an old or previous file path. So that's the thing. So take note of that. Then the next question is question 9b. Question 9b, and it says that anchors and hyperlinks are both used in HTML. Anchor and hyperlinks are both used in HTML. Compare, that's the command word, compare an anchor with an hyperlink. Your answer must include similarities and differences. So now you can start with the similarities. How many mark question? I think this is a 4-mark question. So this will help you to organize your point. So you can say that both anchor and hyperlink are links in a web page. That is very important. Then you can say both can be attached to either icons, text, images, or graphics. Yeah. Another thing is that both are used within the HTML code. Both are HTML tags used on web pages. So take note of that. And very important, both are used for navigation within the web pages or across web pages of different websites. Okay, so take note of that. Then there are differences. You can say while an anchor allows the user to move from one part of a web page to another part, that's for an anchor. It can also, an anchor can still be a label that identifies a specific position in a document or web page. So take note of that. Another thing that you can say is that a hyperlink, on the other hand, allows the user to move from one web page to another web page. That is very important. So take note of that. Another thing that you can say, let me just correct all this typo. Okay. Another thing you can say about it is that you can say that a hyperlink is usually clickable, unlike an anchor. And you can still say that a hyperlink can redirect a user to an anchor by including its name. So take note of all these points. So any 4 of these points will earn you the full mark. So take note of that. So I will continue question 10 through 14 in the next video. So please make sure that you like this video, you share it, and you drop your comment